This morning, the Biden administration dropped a bombshell on the country. President Joe Biden is commuting the sentences of nearly all federal death row inmates, all but 3. A move that has left the nation divided. Let's break it down here. According to a statement that was released by the White House at about 4 a.m. this morning, 37 men on federal death row will have their sentences reclassified to life without the possibility of parole, saving their lives. These individuals convicted of some of the most heinous crimes imaginable include murderers of law enforcement officers, children, and even other inmates. Before I show you what the White House released, a quick thank you to our sponsor of the video, that's Lear Capital. While we have a new administration about to take over, thank God, we still have Biden's terrible foreign policies that have us on the edge of World War III. Our U.S. debt is still massive and still growing, and I believe things could get worse before it gets better. That's why I recommend you stay proactive and protect your hard-earned money with physical gold and silver. My friends at Lear Capital can help. They'll show you how gold and silver holds value and protects your wealth long term. Don't be complacent with your savings or retirement accounts. Call Lear today at 1-800-260-5075 or go to leargg.com. Get your free gold and silver wealth protection guides. There's no obligation, just free information and financial education. Lear has over 27 years experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and $3 billion in trusted transactions. Plus, they're the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee, which means you don't pay unless you are 100% satisfied. Call 1-800-260-5075 or head over to leargg.com. Now, let's get into the White House statement that came out this morning. Here it is, and it says, today, President Biden announced that he is commuting the sentences of 37 individuals on federal death row. Those individuals will have their sentences reclassified from execution to life without the possibility of parole. President Biden has dedicated his career to reducing violent crime and ensuring a fair and effective justice system. He believes that America must stop the use of the death penalty at the federal level, except in cases of terrorism and hate-motivated mass murder, which is why today's actions apply to all but those cases. When President Biden came into office, his administration imposed a moratorium on federal executions, and his actions today will prevent the next administration from carrying out the execution sentences that would not be handed down under current policy and practice. This historic clemency action builds on the president's record of criminal justice reform. The president has issued more commutations at this point in his presidency than any of his recent predecessors at the same point in their first terms. Earlier this month, the president announced clemency for approximately 1,500 Americans, the most ever in a single day, who have shown successful rehabilitation and a commitment to making communities safer. This included sentence commutations for nearly 1,500 individuals who were placed on home confinement during the COVID-19 pandemic and who have successfully reintegrated into their families and their communities, as well as 39 pardons for individuals who were convicted of nonviolent crimes. President Biden is also the first president ever to issue categorical pardons to individuals convicted of simple use and possession of marijuana, and to former LGBTQI+ service members convicted of private conduct because of their sexual orientation. The president's criminal justice record has transformed individual lives and positively impacted communities, especially historically marginalized communities. In the coming weeks, the president will take additional steps to provide meaningful second chances and continue to review additional pardons and commutations. The administration's reasoning? Yeah, you saw it. The president wants to ensure that the Trump administration can't carry out the sentences handed down by judges and juries in connection with their execution sentences. Now, Biden has imposed a moratorium on federal executions since 2021, where he took office, and now he's gone a step further, reshaping that landscape of federal criminal justice. The convicted murderers who will now escape execution include Marcevici Barnett, who killed a man in a carjacking, and his ex-girlfriend; co-defendants Brandon Basham and Chadwick Folks, who kidnapped and killed a woman after escaping prison; Anthony Battle, who killed a prison guard; Jason Brown, who stabbed a postal worker to death; Thomas Hager, who committed a drug-related killing, David Runyon, who participated in the murder-for-hire plot of a naval officer, Thomas Sanders, who kidnapped and killed a 12-year-old girl, Ray John Taylor, who carjacked, kidnapped, and killed a restaurant owner, and Alejandro Umana, who killed two brothers inside a restaurant. Two men were on death row for murders of witnesses, including former New Orleans police officer Len Davis, who ordered the murder of a witness who was part of an investigation into a misconduct complaint against him, and Ronald Mikos, who killed a federal grand jury witness in a Medicare fraud investigation. Ex-Marine Jorge Torres was set to be executed for killing another service member, and that list also includes men who committed deadly bank robberies, such as co-defendants Billy Allen and Norris Holder, who killed a bank guard during their crime, Brandon Council, who killed two bank employees, and Darrell Lawrence, who killed a special duty police officer during an attempted bank robbery. Co-defendants James Rohn Jr. and Richard Tipton committed a series of drug-related murders as gang members with Corey Johnson, who was executed in 2021. Julius Robinson killed two people over drugs, and so did co-defendants Ricardo Sanchez Jr. and Daniel Troya, who killed a family, including two children. Drug lord Kebani Savage murdered or directed someone else to murder 12 people during a 16-year period, including an arson that killed 6 members of a federal informant's family. Edward Fields was on death row for murdering 2 campers on federal land, while Marvin Gabrion and Richard Jackson were both there for killing a woman on federal land in separate cases. Co-defendants Jurius Katamovis and Lori Mickle were convicted of kidnapping and killing 5 Russian and Georgian immigrants for ransom, and the following men were sentenced to death row in various cases for killing a prisoner while in federal prison. Shannon Agofsky, Carlos Caro, co-defendants Wesley Kuntz and Charles Hall, co-defendants Christopher Kramer and Ricky Fackrell, Joseph Ebron, and co-defendants Edgar Garcia and Mark Snar. Now, these crimes are horrific, and understandably, many Americans are asking, does this decision put American public safety at risk? Now, this isn't Biden's first sweeping clemency action. Earlier this month, he commuted the sentences of nearly 1,500 prisoners who had been on home confinement during the COVID-19 pandemic and issued 40 pardons as well. Among those pardoned, his son, Hunter Biden, a decision that has fueled criticism from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. Also in that previous list, Mikhail Zemelansky, a Long Island, New York man who committed a $35 million fraud. It's been called the single largest no-fault car insurance fraud scheme ever prosecuted. Multiple Chinese spies are also on that list, including Yan Jun Zhu, who was convicted in 2022 for conspiracy to commit economic espionage, conspiracy to commit trade secret theft, attempted economic espionage by theft or fraud, attempted theft of trade secrets by taking or deception, and also spy Ji Chao-Kwon, who was convicted of conspiracy to defraud the United States, impersonating agents of foreign governments, statements or entries generally, also was a conviction of his. This was also after arriving in the United States in 2013 and later enlisting in the United States Army Reserves under a program for those with special skills. Now, federal authorities in Illinois said that G worked at the direction of high-level intelligence officers in the Jiangsu Province Ministry of State Security, a provincial department of the Ministry of State Security for the People's Republic of China. Biden also granted clemency to Shenlin Jin, who was convicted after police found more than 47,000 images and videos of child pornography on his computer. Biden also took care of crooked former Pennsylvania judge Michael Conahan, who was convicted in 2011 in what was infamously called the Kids for Cash scandal, where he took kickbacks from for-profit detention centers in exchange for wrongfully sending juveniles to their facilities. Oh, and then there was also Rita Crundwell, the former comptroller of Dixon, Illinois, a city of about 15,000 people, where she managed to steal $54 million of taxpayer funds from those 15,000 people. That's really hard to do, but she did it. Critics argue that these actions undermine the rule of law. while supporters say that these are steps toward criminal justice reform. So what's next? Will this move spark a larger conversation about the death penalty in America? Or will it deepen the dive over crime and punishment in this country? The 3 inmates that were not included, I told you it was all but 3, they are Robert Bowers, who is responsible for the mass shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in 2018, which left 11 people dead. Dylan Roof, the white supremacist who killed 9 black parishioners at the Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina in 2015, as well as Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, who worked with his now dead brother to perpetrate the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing that killed 3 people and injured hundreds others. So what do you guys and gals think? Does this move help or hurt America? Should the death penalty remain a tool of justice, or is it time to abolish it altogether? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, this is supposed to be a country, a nation of laws. It doesn't seem like we push that law part much anymore. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth discussions on stories that are shaping our nation, including those surrounding the Second Amendment. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care, America.